All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is February 25th. We got 7 games on the NBA slate. Like we always do, we're going to jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean, give you what I'm thinking, but my final plays, what I'm actually going to be rolling with tonight, my final plays will be in the pinned comments, so make sure to check that out, guys. I update it throughout the day as we do more and more research and jump on board with what I'm most confident in. So let me know, too, in the comments if you're riding or if you're fading. Last night was a big time fade me night. We had the Cavs money line and Cavs +1, a half unit on each. Cavs did not get that done, right? And then we had the under in the Kings and Clippers game. In that game, I think the final score was like 1,000,000 to 1,000,001, and we had the under there. Almost 400 points actually were scored in that game. So big time miss there. Did go to double overtime. So once I see that, I'm like, well, no chance the under cashes, right? But nonetheless, we look to bounce back tonight. We had an 0-2 night last night, but we follow. 2 nights ago we went 3-0. So we got to keep the positives in our mind. Let's play the winners in our brain. So let's jump into it tonight. We're started off with the Detroit Pistons here taking on the Raptors. Pistons 7-point dogs at home. Total sitting at 228 here. Last time they played, the Pistons were 11.5-point dogs, and they only lost by 1 point. Toronto could not get it done. They did play earlier in the year as well, mid-November, and Detroit covered there, 111 to 115. They're 4.5-point dogs. So they kind of have Toronto's number when it comes to against the spread here. In terms of injuries, no Fred VanVleet tonight for Detroit. Nerlens Noel still out here. Cade Cunningham obviously out for season. Jalen Duren also out here, which is a big loss for Detroit there in the middle. Toronto's been playing good basketball. I don't think I can trust them without Fred VanVleet, so I am going to lean towards Detroit +7. I don't think this one becomes a final play if I'm being completely honest here, but I will say I lean Detroit +7. And then in terms of the total, I like the under here as well. Moving on, we got the Pacers taking on the Magic here. Magic at home, they're 2.5-point favorites. Total sitting at 232.5. I don't love the Magic as of late. They were, and I say that, and every time I say that about the Magic, they seem to prove me wrong. But they were playing good basketball, but now at home, in their last 4 games, 1-3 against the spread. They're home here. This Pacers team looked good against the Celtics a couple nights ago, taking them, to overtime here. They only lost by 4 points, and they were 8-point dogs there, so they covered. I'm going to lean towards Indiana. No injuries on that side of things either, to note. Also, no injuries on Orlando. So I'm going to lean towards Indiana here, getting the points on the road. And in terms of a total, I think 232 is just slightly too high for this game. So I'm also going to be looking at the under in this one as well. Moving on, we got the Heat taking on the Hornets. Hornets at home. They're 5-point dogs on their own floor. Total sitting at 226.5 right now. Last time these two teams played was in late January, and Charlotte won as dogs. They're 6-point dogs. They actually won. They're the home team there too. They won 122 to 117. And then in mid-November, they actually got blown out. So this is kind of a toss-up as of right now in terms of the last 2 games. You go back to, I think it was early November, they played another time as well where they covered against Miami here. But this Charlotte team, this is a big number to give them in terms of what Miami is rolling out there tonight. Obviously, Kyle Lowry being the only injuries there. So they have Bam. They have Jimmy Butler and whatnot. I think you're giving, Charlotte a decent number here, 5 points. Not to say they're playing good basketball by any means. I don't mean to say that, but they've covered 3 straight games. Against Atlanta, give them that one, right? Decent team. San Antonio, I don't think that's the best team in the world. But then Minnesota also winning that game outright, and they were 7-point dogs. That was it last night. So you have a Charlotte team that maybe is starting to feel themselves and feel a little good here. So I'm going to lean Charlotte plus the points. I just not impressed by this Miami team as of late. And then in terms of a total, I do think that 226.5 is pretty sharp for this game, but I'm going to go over by the littlest of margin there. Moving on, we got the Knicks taking on the Pelicans. Knicks 3-point favorites at home. Total 223.5 in this game. Knicks played last night against the I'm drawing a blank here, I have it in my notes. Excuse me. Knicks played Washington last night. They win that game 115 to 109. They've actually won 4 straight games here. They've covered all of those games as well. They were dogs in 2 of them and then favorites in 2 of them there. So no matter if they're a dog or a favorite in this one, they are winning games. This Knicks team we have bet on quite a bit this season, and they've actually been paying off, especially as of late and at home. 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games. So I'm going to lean Knicks here minus the 3 points. And in terms of the total, I do think this one goes over. 223.5 just seems a little bit too doable for both of these offenses. All right, moving on. We got the Grizzlies hosting the Nuggets. Grizz, 2-point favorites at home. Total 235 in this one here. Last time these two teams played was late December in Denver as 1.5-point dogs. They won 105-91. That was the only meeting of the season. Memphis in their last 10 games, 3-7 against the spread. Denver 8-2 against the spread here. We're playing really good basketball. I think you're getting some points, which is getting some value with these points with Denver. Jokic is playing. Aaron Gordon is downgraded to out, so that's worth noting. But I think this Denver team, something's weird about this line because I think Denver should almost be favorites in this game. So I'm going to lean Denver plus the 2 points. But I would caution everyone to kind of look at and say, why is this spread, I guess, because I do think Denver is the better team. It opened up, I think Denver was favorites, or were favorites, and then now it's shifted to them being underdogs. So a lot of action going there on the Memphis side of things. So I'm going to lean Denver still, and then in terms of the total, I do like the under. All right, Celtics, my Boston Celtics taking on the Sixers here. Philly at home getting 1.5 total, 225 right now. Last time they played was early February. That was when the Celtics were missing 4 starters, and they won 106-99. They played in late October, won 126-117. I don't think that this is, I just don't think this is a Sixers team that can really compete with the Celtics as of right now. Only injury on the injury report is Danilo Gallinari, who's been out for a while. But Boston, obviously getting the win against Indiana a couple nights ago. We talked about that with the Indiana, but they did pull through. They kind of came back from being down. I think this Boston Celtics team is starting to turn a corner. And I shouldn't say it's corner because they've been good all year long, but they did go into a little bit of a rut there, I want to say like a month ago, and they're kind of starting to get out of that. And this is a great spot for them here to say, you know what, we're only 1.5 favorite here. Let's go and blow this Eastern Conference rival out of the building. So as a biased Celtics fan, I am going to go Celtics here, minus the 1.5 points here. And I also really like the over. I think this one could get up in the 230. So for 225 total right now, I think if this one gets up, this is one of my, probably, I can tell you guys, probably will be a final play. But keep an eye on the pinned comment as always. But I do like the over in this one. All right, moving on, we get the Jazz taking on the Spurs. Jazz 9.5-point favorites against the Spurs here tonight. Total 241. This is a really, really weird game for me because I want to be able to say, fade the Spurs. They stink, right? They're not trying anymore. But this Jazz team has been a little bit too rocky. They're 5-5 against spread in their last 10 games, 2-4 at home in their last 6 against the spread here. So it's like I can't really make out what this Jazz team is or what Jazz team you're going to get night in and night out. So as weird as it's going to sound, I'm going to ride with the Spurs again here, at least in terms of this lean, plus the 9.5 points. I wish this was 10. This opened up at 11.5. It's clearly moving in that direction down. So if you like this Spurs here, you might want to get it before it moves again, or maybe, buy a point to get it back up to 10.5 type of thing if you do like those double-digit numbers. But I'm going to lean Spurs plus the 9.5 points. In terms of the total, I think it's just a little bit too high for me. I'm going under 241. And that is all we have for you guys today. Obviously, we got the makeshift setup here. Hopefully the audio is serviceable and the camera and quality and whatnot are right there. So make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.